candidates are declining offers because there is no flexibility. Not a fully remote, but sometimes a bit of a hybrid is needed.
Well, again, as I said, it is not primarily the country or the companies as well. Sometimes I have seen the prerogative of the individual as well comes into place, because probably they have grown up thinking that they need to attend to home better.
Yeah.
So the transition has to come throughout. Sometimes, I make a joke to a lot of people that, the touch of woman could even make the balance sheets pop. So at least try that.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the podcast thus far. 2024, big year ahead. The one favor I would ask, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, is to press the follow and subscribe button on whatever media platform you listen to us, as it helps us grow our network and grow the podcast. So thank you and enjoy the podcast. Welcome back to another podcast. I'm Conor McHugh, the founder of Alchemy Search. Today, we're thrilled to welcome Babita Ganeriwala, the CFO of TRACTEBEL in the Middle East. With over 15 years of experience in finance and consulting, she's a powerhouse in transforming financial strategies for global organizations. A qualified chartered accountant, cost and management accountant, she's known for her sharp insights into project management and risk control. In her role at TRACTEBEL NG, she's driving growth and innovation while leading a talented team. Get ready to hear her take on the dynamic world of finance and engineering and how to create real value in today's business landscape. So, Babita, welcome, and how are you?
Thank you so much, Conor, and thanks to your team, of course, to arrange this. It's an absolute pleasure to be here talking to you.
Well, it's great to have you here, and it's after joining a recent birth of your son, so great to have you.
Likewise.
It's keeping you busy?
Absolutely. Totally it does. And I think that's the most recent development than anything else at the moment.
Well, there's probably no better development in life to get.
Yeah. It's certainly very exciting.
Yeah.
Exhausting, but very fulfilling.
Babita, obviously we've known each other for a few years before you made your move, and for me, one, it's great to have someone who's made the move you've made and progressed so quickly, but also it's so important to have female leaders on our podcast, because I'm very conscious that a lot of our episodes have had a lot of male, because the reality is in the UAE there is a lot of male senior leaders, and for us now we want to try and get as many female leaders. So thank you so much for coming on, and I guess no better place to start than women in finance. So I'm quite keen to get your thoughts, having been here so many years, how you've seen females evolve in this market.
Well, as they say, finance is man's world.
Yeah.
But I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think finance is a numbers game. It is not a man's game. Mm-hmm. So despite quite good progress, I think women are still underrepresented, especially in the senior leadership. So it is an issue, but I think we are getting there. Women can get to a certain level now, and especially with the rising ranks, there is more and more participation for women, especially in finance. So I'm quite positive about this, but I think there is still a lot of work to be done. Diversity, I think, is not a buzzword, according to me. For me, it is a total math. More perspectives equals to greater solutions. Mm-hmm. So, which of course helps in a lot of innovation, and it's quite crucial for the organizations. A lot of studies have shown that companies with more diverse teams, they are doing quite better. They are doing way better than probably otherwise.
Yeah, no, I think I know with Alchemy for a reason. We've a very diverse team. We've a good broad range of nationalities, and the majority of the team actually is female. Mm-hmm. So despite the tag of being the founder or the boss, I can assure you with 6 females in the team, I'm not the boss. They are the boss. But no, I think, look, again, touching on that point, especially in the UAE, I said your son is 4 months old now, and how long after did you go back to work?
So he's about 4.5 months now, and I went to work after 3 months.
Yeah, good.
I'm a true champion to say that given a good work-life balance, or we are able to kind of break all the glass ceilings. Mm-hmm. So I can say I was never completely off work. Yeah. And also at the same time, I was not completely on the field. So I think I had that good flexibility to decide that what what needed me versus what could go without me. So that helped me time, my time with my son, with my recovery, and as well as, to heal, in the process, while actually not, compromising on the work front.
And was that obviously from management? You obviously have, in your current employer, they were obviously quite flexible from that side of things?
Yes, I think I am kind of, part of that initiative. So NG, as you might know, the global CEO is a woman. TRACTEBEL is the engineering consulting arm of NG. And again, the CEO of TRACTEBEL is a woman now.
Yeah, good.
And the global CFO was a woman. And in Middle East, I'm here, I'm a woman. So we have a lot of good mix. And in my team as well, we are currently 50-50.
Okay, good.
And the company is also, championing the goal of to achieve 50-50, even in the Middle East. So I think it's not UAE, the issue is global, but still I think we are getting there. And there are, of course, these initiatives that are totally needed for somebody to champion and get there. Because underrepresentation has been an issue of the past. It will take some time to get there and level it out. But with the right mentorship, right inclusion, and let's say right support in the work-life balance demands, I think women can get there.
And how, you've been in the region many years, and obviously you're in the consulting side, so you've naturally been exposed to so many people, but as you said, your team's 50-50 now. What are you seeing with the up and coming women accountants or finance professionals? Are they more confident, or what are you seeing as the skills gap? Not the skills gap, but how can females, aspiring finance managers, finance controllers, what can they be doing to improve their chances of securing roles?
To secure the roles, I think the skill that is needed, but of course a lot of commitment and dedication is something that you need. Sometimes, as I said, it might look that it is getting lost in meeting the work-life balance demands. It is classical that, of course, women, they need, it's more physiological that women need to kind of attend the home more. But still, I think there is no reason that why it can't turn around. So now I think we are all, even at home, to have a supporting partner who is helping you with the domestic stuff, let's say, in a 50-50 ratio, that kind of lets the women get out. And they're able to secure the roles that they want. So which means they are able to do a full justice to the house, and as well as at the workplace. So I think it is the overall turnaround that is required, not only at the workplace but also how in their personal lives. So in terms of the roles, in terms of the CVs that we kind of review on a day-to-day basis, I think there is, in terms of the flow of applications, if you talk about percentage, I think there will be lesser percentage. Of course, again, given the fact that there is less women in the workforce, so it is the transition, but it is also an effort that is probably needed from the company, from the HR, from the hiring manager, to be able to kind of ensure that the representation is perfect. So having said this, I would not compromise on the merit. That a woman has to take the place, but given a chance, I think there should be a fair evaluation of who can take the role.
Well, obviously the organisation you're part of seems to be moving in the right direction massively, which having been in the region so many years, I don't think there's too many companies like that, because I think what we notice in the market is that once you get from mid to senior level roles, it is a lot more male dominated. I think your junior to mid-level, there's plenty of females, really good candidates out there, but we notice there is a bit of and look, I imagine there's many factors that could surround this, but I'd say most of it is to do maybe with children or family demands, that they just want something a little different. Because I guess the big challenge we see in UAE is that not too many companies are very flexible. There is very much you need to be in the office and you need to be 9 to 5. It's sort of, it's an area which I think will have to evolve in the coming years if people want to retain the best talent. We've seen ourselves in recruitment in the last couple of months where candidates are declining offers because there is no flexibility. Not a fully remote, but sometimes a bit of a hybrid is needed.
Well, again, as I said, it is not primarily the country or the companies as well. Sometimes I have seen the prerogative of the individual as well comes into place, because probably they have grown up thinking that they need to attend to home better. So the transition has to come throughout. Sometimes, I make a joke to a lot of people that, the touch of woman could even make the balance sheets pop. So at least try that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think, because I think it's very much needed to be more and more diverse. In fact, all the organizations, I've been part of 2 organizations since I've moved to UAE, and I think both were associated with the goal or a mission to be able to be 50-50 at some point in time, primarily 2030, but sooner the better. So it is also important for leaders like us to assign, to kind of, identify ourselves with a company which has prerogative of meeting this 50-50 criteria, or even better if the percentages go higher up. But we need to move the needle to be able to include women in the workforce. But also, I think, this is from the company prerogative, but at the same time, I think we need to do a lot of coaching and mentoring to young women, budding women rather, to try and, come and join the workforce. It helps them.
Yeah, I think confidence is the biggest thing. I think that's probably the biggest. Sometimes women or females don't sell themselves maybe as well sometimes in interviews as a male can, but because they are, even I look at my team, some of the females are quite introverted, but they're excellent, and they're some of the best builders, but they just need to let people know that they are. So I think, as I said, mentorship is probably a big thing, because it's knowing that you are good, is what I see. But moving on then to the as you mentioned, the 2 businesses you've worked with in the UAE. So what I always found very interesting with your profile is that, you stayed, within the Big Four, you didn't leave like most people usually leave, before manager or just before that level. You did stick it out for a while. And then you made the move into industry, which sometimes can be perceived as very tricky to do. But just quite keen for you to, give it an overview for our listeners who maybe are, within consulting now, and maybe they sort of thought they wanted to be a partner or a director, and they're a manager, a senior manager now, and they sort of think they're stuck in no man's land to move into an industry role. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when I reflect about my journey, I kind of feel that I've literally traded, the PowerPoint decks to power grids. Just it's the same analytical mindset, but just some more voltage, as you might say. But I kind of made 2 transitions in my career. Primarily, the first one was, from audit to finance. It was more about when I was already thinking that now I want to write my own books rather than kind of, evaluate or read the books. So it was more about the transition was more from ensuring compliance to probably find greater value or contribute to greater value. That's when I decided to move from audit role to finance. It was quite interesting because as auditor, the feeling is more like you are an inspector.
You're a policeman, or policewoman.
And while you are actually when you actually move to the internal departments, like I moved to internal finance in KPMG. That time you already feel that you are now an architect, because it is more, the transition is more, let's say, from inspector to architect, because now you are part of the decision-making process. So you are, of course, managing the operations, you're managing the financial operations, and the finances, budgets, cash of the company, right? So that kind of gives you a different level of kick, as well as, not to say that the earlier one was not interesting, but it is just different level of kick at different phases of life.
It's audit now. I used to be an auditor too. But
yeah, exactly. So, and I also say that, audit was something good to start with, especially because I thought it was shaping my career from
the exposure gives you incredible.
Yeah, and plus, when you are young, you want to do different things. You want to explore, you want to learn new things, and you can't stick around. So I think it was a good start, because it kind of shapes you with different knowledge of different industries. It gives you a bit of an idea of how to have external communications, manage client, and etc. So at that young an age, I think it's a very good start.
Yeah, because I think within the Big Four, it is a very big positive they have, is that you can still move within the business. It's usually for the better people. When I was in KPMG, I never got offered to transition to other teams. But again, it just shows for people who are working in the Big Four or working in any audit firm. Obviously, the bigger the better. But there is areas you can transition, and the reality is the transition that you made within KPMG really helped you for the following role.
Yes, exactly. So that's when I joined the finance department, and I was also doing a lot of transformation. So it was more like a finance transformation, which kind of was giving me a good overview of the organization, was helping me learn to move needles within the company, follow up and worry about the real life problems, let's say. So it gave me a good perspective, and that's when I was started to feeling a bit more stabilized in still looking at the consulting side, but looking it from the finance lens. That's when I decided to move to take the next plunge. And as I say, power grid with higher voltage.
Yeah.
So now and then it was Tractable NG, which is still a consulting, or let's say a project finance based driven model of business, but it was good it was a good transition to on the other side of the table, let's say. So now it's an engineering consulting company wherein I'm leading the finance function, but I'm part of the decision making, the strategy, and etc. So it kind of made a full circle for myself.
And how was it, making that move, leaving KPMG into, in theory, an industry role? What were the key differences day to day that you've experienced? So if someone who's making such a move, what could you be advising that like this is going to happen, which probably didn't happen in your previous role?
Yeah, I think I will first start about what is similar.
Yeah.
The one thing that I always say is similar is client management.
Yeah.
So whether you manage an external client or internal stakeholders, I still say it's the same, because meeting people's expectations, still delivering is a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know it because you are a people.
I do it every day. Yeah.
Yeah, you deal with people every day, so you can imagine how it would be. So I think client expectation is one thing that is the common, common envelope across roles. So which is something very, very similar. What is different is now, at least because for me it was not only just a lateral movement, I was kind of growing up the ladder as well. So now I feel more invested from the decision making process, which means I do get cold feet more and more. So it was a tough one, and we also think that you have to lead not only yourself, you have to lead a team.
Yeah.
You are not, and it is not fancy. Managing people is, it could look fancy from outside.
It's not all glamour at the top.
It's not all glamour, for sure. For sure. Yeah, but it is more of a responsibility, I feel. But I've been lucky enough to be able to kind of have a very, very good, talented people who are helping me with my current role. So, if you ask me for one piece of advice, I think it is not especially for the transition, but one thing that I think I have continuously maintained is to give your 100%.
No, good.
This applies as a life rule for myself for my corporate life. Even when, let's say, I started my career as an audit analyst, and since then till now, I think I have a very long way to go still.
You're still a baby.
Yeah.
You're a very young lady.
That's how they say that baby steps grow, but long way to go.
But look, the position you're in, at your level and experience is very inspiring. So
it's quite fulfilling for me as well. More so if I'm able to kind of touch a few people's lives as well, trying to grow them from where they were to probably to a certain ranks and levels.
Yeah, I said there's so many people working in audit firms or whatever, but they'll see your journey, and it's an incredible journey.
It is, because it is sometimes incredible for myself as well. When I try to reflect and look back on how it was versus what it is now. So it wasn't an easy one, I would say. It was quite difficult.
Well, if it was easy, everyone would do it, Babita.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wish that a lot of people, more and more people, can do it, because that is how things will shape for starting from individual to companies to teams to a greater economy, let's say. More and more people, when they come into the workforce, when they are 100% dedicated, I think we can actually move strides.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned is that it's about taking risk and backing yourself ultimately. Like, there's always going to be people that are maybe better than you or I at their respective jobs, but they weren't willing to take the risk or take the leap.
And you were an example.
Yeah. I said, well,
KPMG I'll be on the record as probably their worst auditor of all time, but it's okay. I lived and learned. But I guess, the one question we want to push you on is IQ versus EQ.
That's an interesting one. I think it also brings me to my first topic about women, because I think more and more EQ is becoming important, and I think it comes naturally to women. Of course, I would not like to have any bias here.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, that certain things are physiological. So, I mean, my feeling is that it is more natural, but EQ is becoming more and more important in our everyday lives, especially when we are leading teams, when we are dealing with people. And when more people, I can tell you more problems, because of course, if you have a bigger team, everyone has a life behind.
Yeah.
There could be, you never know what could be going around, right?
Yeah.
So it is so much important to have the right amount of EQ in your roles, starting from from a very junior role as you grow up.
Yeah.
But it is more and more important in your leadership roles, for your collaboration, for teamwork. I can always say that you may win a debate with IQ, but you will not win a team with only IQ.
Exactly.
So there has to be a right blend of IQ versus EQ these days, because earlier probably, I mean, you may get shortlisted for your role with only your IQ potentially, but you need EQ to sustain your role.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I cannot emphasize enough how important EQ becomes as you grow up the ladder.
Yeah, at the end of the day, and it's interesting because we've had a few conversations recently with other CFOs, and the big thing that strikes me is calmness.
Yeah.
You come across as very calm, and a lot of the people I speak to, because if you're not calm, it's going to trickle down the whole leadership down to the most junior person in the team, because it's like anything. Even if you're a baby, if your child sees you panicked, they're going to panic.
Yeah, it's an everyday thing.
Yeah, exactly. It is. So, and I think that's the big thing for people at mid-management. That look, of course, if you're an incredible accountant and you make everything balance correctly, that's great, but it will only get you so far.
Yeah.
Especially in industry, where you have stakeholder management, or internal or external in your position, where you need to have a bit of gravitas about you, that because the biggest thing in this part of the world is that, from an EQ perspective, is that it is so multicultural. You need to understand how other people operate culturally, and if you don't have any EQ for that, that's gonna not work out. Because like, even we've had a feedback where we have some candidates, Muslim candidates, that Friday prayers is obviously incredibly important for them, and there's been an issue with their boss, I guess, about the Friday prayers, where not understanding how everyone else operates. And so I just think you need to really be, because once you lose the room, it's very hard to get the room back.
Yeah, and I think, because you touched upon it, I think UAE is the place where you get to exercise it the most, because it's so cross-cultural. Yeah. You probably meet, in fact, in my company, we have about 28 nationalities, let's say. So to be able to get, to understand people, to be able to understand their culture, to be able to even understand their feelings, you need to be, it's a learning curve.
It is learning, but you have to be willing to learn. Well, if you come across as ignorant to someone else's beliefs or anything, then I think you really struggle in this.
No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, exactly. So this is what I was telling you, right? So it is also tying up again to the work-life balance as well. So it means a lot of things are top down, but also if even the mid managers can make changes. So it is so important to give that kind of flexibility to human, because we have to understand that we are still not dealing with robots, right? Yeah. We are still dealing with people who have things to attend to, who have got their own feelings, and everybody might not be having a good day. Yeah. So it is, as much as it is important to understand, and sometimes it could make things work, versus trying to put pressure may not be able to. So we might as well think that, because I was hard with this person, I got this thing done. Maybe you could get it done once, but not always.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you heard the person who was having a bad day for once, trust me, it will go a long way for the next 10 times.
And the thing is, the more senior you are, there's limited people for you to talk to properly within the organization.
Yeah.
And the more junior people, they're going to gossip. They're going to be in the coffee shop or whatever,
Yeah.
or meeting for dinner on the weekends.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can be rest assured, if you're treating one of them bad, they will love nothing more to gossip about you.
Absolutely. And plus, it is not also the fear of gossip, to be honest. It is more about how you feel at the end of the day. So, for example, if I have not treated somebody good during the day, trust me, I will not be able to sleep well at night. So I think that kind of feeling is important. Plus, it is also not always about how I feel, but sometimes it is also about how you made others feel, right? So, I mean, being in UAE, being in a cross-cultural team, leading a team of, with a 50-50 male and female, I can tell you, I kind of come across a lot of varieties day to day. While the prerogative is, of course, to have a nice blend of IQ versus EQ, we cannot forget that there are business needs that needs to be delivered
things
as
to get
well.
done.
Things still have to be done. The cash still has to be, has to
Invoices
be procured.
need to be paid.
Yeah, exactly. So the business has to run as usual, and at the same time, we are humans. So to be able to navigate this and balance this
It's the
throughout,
balance, And look, it's some days it'll be good, some days it won't be good, but it's just a thing, as you said, it's acknowledging.
Absolutely.
And sometimes things you might say something that's wrong, but as you said, if you go to bed that night, you don't even think twice about it, then that could be an issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the buzzword in the last 6-12 months has been technology, AI, finance. If I'm a junior accountant now, why should I be an accountant? My job mightn't be there in 5-10 years time. So the space you're in as well is quite interesting. So keen to get your thoughts on it, because as you said, you were doing a lot of transformation work, obviously previously KPMG, and I'm sure you're bringing that forward in your current role. So you're probably your fingers on the pulse for how things may look in the future for finance with technology.
Well, yes, it is a buzzword, but it is something that is the need of the hour as well. Sometimes, being in finance could be driving through the fog, I can tell you. We know the road is there, but not always it's very clear. So I think technology, especially AI, automation, this can help us get around. This can at least, if not clear the road, let's say, but could probably put some high beam headlights for us to be able to navigate through. So of course, we make a lot of assumptions, we compile a lot of history and etc. But we really can't predict the weather based on the last year's weather, right? So we do need certain technology, certain amount of automation to be able to integrate and probably predict some kind of market uncertainties that we kind of navigate day in and day out. So of course, the patterns, the assumptions, the compilations of the history and etc., which of course we are doing traditionally or conventionally, it's still helping, but we need that tool to kind of push it forward. And you never know that tomorrow, these AI tools can predict, if not anything, at least the market behavior.
And how have you seen the evolvement? Because as I said, you've had your hands dirty in the transformation space for quite a few years. Have you seen things go from 0 to 10 on evolvement, or how is what have you seen now, which 5 years ago you wouldn't thought would be possible? Maybe as a
Well, it is not about what was not possible, but when I moved to UAE, I think UAE is a market which is, at least from the support functions side, it is still developing.
Big time.
You will see a lot of ERP implementation. So when I honestly moved here,
everything looks pretty on the outside.
Exactly.
It's a very nice shop window.
And plus the customer service and etc. In the region is of course very developed. But if you look at the support organizations, when I moved in here, I was pretty surprised that there is a lot of ERP implementation roles that were open, and I couldn't believe that the companies are still on, going through that phase. Forget about AI and automation; they are still implementing ERPs, right? So it was.
The biggest reason why I personally think that is that UAE for senior roles, to be honest, it's very rare someone stays for too long in a role. So you might have a CFO who comes in and says, "I want this ERP implementation done," and within 2 years they're gone. So I think that's one reason why I think it is quite stagnated sometimes. But
it is also, the movement. I'll come back to the topic of AI, but the movement, I think I look at it quite positively, because here we feel ourselves to be implementing certain projects or trying to make or add values. you kind of you are hired, you are expected to make certain changes, and because it is so fast paced,
Yeah, you don't have
let's say you achieve it quickly, and then you already start to feel stagnated and you want to move on, and probably again go down in some other company and do
Yeah.
the same kind of dirty work. So I mean, movement I think is good, but at the same time some kind of consistency is needed. So everywhere we have been talking about balance, so this is so much so needed. But about the finance transformation tools and automation, I think we are all riding the wave, wherein some companies are of course implementing ERPs, while some are actually improving their reporting dashboards. Some are probably getting some tools to predict market behaviors, and some are also the ones that are struggling with cash flows. They are trying to get some technology implemented to
Just
collect,
get the person to pay quicker.
to collect.
Yeah. That's very tough.
Yeah, so it could be any way, but I think there is a room for a lot of automation, and
It's a good
AI.
space to be in, I think.
It's a good space.
But the biggest thing here is change is always the biggest challenge, because people are so used to one way, because anything like this, it's just they see it as more work.
Yes, but that's where the movement of people comes helps.
Yeah, exactly. I guess, Babita, look, you'll be surprised to know we got through it without any retakes. I know you're a bit nervous before coming in.
Really?
It done flew past. But we always like to finish on a bit of a lighter note, just so people can get a feel for you as a person. And we always like to ask, if you could live in any city in the world, where would it be?
Well, because I don't know the future, I think it's Dubai. It's clearly Dubai.
Safe, solid.
Yeah, I think I like it here. For me especially, right, I think it's closer to home.
Yeah, of course.
And it is the best of both the worlds. Safe, very safe, especially with children, with women. So more or less, I think I feel very good to be in Dubai till I have been able to explore something else, let's say.
And then, if you weren't a CFO, if you didn't love business transformation, if you didn't love audit as much as you do, what career would you have been?
That's interesting. Probably I would be a stylist.
A bit different, yeah?
Yeah. I think I am, if not anything, I'm very inspired by the glam.
You're in the right city for that, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just about to
You'll
say
be on
that.
Dubai Bling next year, maybe.
Well, no. But yeah, okay, why not?
Good. Well, look, just want to thank you on behalf of the team at Alchemy, for coming in, taking time, discussing the topics, and we look forward to keeping connected and go from there. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you, Connor. And of course, thanks to your team again for organizing this. But it is always pleasure to keep coming back to you. And thankfully not for asking for
Yeah,
roles.
it's good. Yeah, we haven't spoken in a while, which is a good thing as well. So thanks again.